Now I want to introduce us to using variables in Power BI DAX. It is always good and best practice, and it also improves performance to use variables. But my assumption is maybe some of us are new to DAX and I don't want to make things just complex very quick. So I'm going to demonstrate to us using variables, how to create some measures, especially when you work with a compound measure that depends on another measure. What do we need to do? Let us do it with sales YOY and just create another function called sales YOY %. Let's call it 2. And we are going to do equals to, then we start writing our variables. So what do we need to do? We are going to say that, okay, the current sales is what? Current sales is equals to sales. We know that. Then the previous sales, these are variables. So anytime you create variable, you need to start with VAR. Yes, VAR. Then current sales. Then I do VAR previous sales. So the previous sales in this case is going to be sales good. Always take notes. You need to start with VAR. So when we've done this, then we can do VAR again. Current sales. Difference is going to be current sales minus previous sales, which is another variable. Good. Then what do we want to return? Then we can say YOY. YOY growth. YOY is going to be divide. Again, you have to start with what? VAR. YOY % is going to be what? It's going to be divide. Then the difference sales, comma, the previous sales. Then we close the brackets. Then you need to end it with a return. Then you say return what? What do you want it to return? Return YOY %. So with this variable that I've created here now, it means that I do not necessarily need to create another measure for this. So it's not going to store them. But if I create a measure for this, then Power BI needs to compute them before it's going to be able to do YOY %. But now for this YOY % is just doing this as a single measure. It depends on other measure elsewhere. So it's inside this single measure of SOY % 2. So let's just call it SOY 2%. Good. So we are going to click on enter. Now we have sales YOY 2%. So for performance issues, it is always better to use variables if you can, when you can. Then we come over here. Then we want to compare it, sales YOY 2%. Now we have it and we activate it first. Where are you? Then we change the percent format. We change to percent format. Good. We can just move it up beside sales YOY %2. Now we can see the same result. So this has better performance than this. So we've done the interactions. We can actually deactivate the interaction. We come to format and we do this so that it doesn't show again. We can see it is interesting to see. Good.